Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. It's 5:30. I'd like to call our meeting to order at this time. This is our regular monthly meeting for November. And if everyone would please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. At this time, would everyone join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Board members, we're down to approving the agenda. Are there any additions to the agenda tonight? Huh?
Remove that.
Oh, I have to remove that. Okay. I make a motion, we need to remove item F under the board action items. Second by Mr. Johar. All in favor of removing item F under the board action items, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none. Are there any other changes to the agenda? If not, I need a motion to approve the amended agenda. A motion by Mr. Bowers. Second by Ms. Wells. All in favor of approving the amended agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none. And we'll move down now to the treasurer's report, Mr. Blasinger.
We used to do technology today. All right, so bringing you the financials as of October 31st, 2022.
Look like the weather, man.
That's what I was going to say.
Really want to know if there's a revenue front coming through. So the beginning balance was 32.7 million. Monthly receipts were 3.25 million. Sorry, for a total monthly receipts of 34.5 million. Expenditures this month we had 2.2 million in expenditures, and payroll was about 2.97 for total expenses of 5.2 million. Of those accounts payable, debt service accounted for 862,000. Construction was 263,000. Fund 2 and school activity funds accounted for about 183,000. General fund was 696,000, and food service and daycare was 178,000. For the breakdown of the 2.2 million, general fund was 695,000. School activity fund 183, construction 263, debt service 862, service. So ledger balance to close the month was 29.4 million. Bank balance was 19.6 with 768,000 outstanding checks for 18.8 million cash at the close of the month. A further breakdown of that was 16.4 million. It's an increase of 1.5 million in general fund. There were decrease in debt service, food service had an increase of 64,000, daycare of 115,000, for a total of 29.4 million. And we went down about 1.9 million. Overall. Disconnected. Oh, man, technology.
You picked tonight to do that.
Hey, listen, I did. Shame on me. So, you're supposed to be able to sweep it.
Sweet.
Yes. Yes.
Like on TV, you know, when you throw the
All right,
document.
so the extended financial picture for through March of 2023. We anticipate having 35.35 million. We're hoping that we do get about 6 million. Didn't work. This is really cool. It doesn't work. Forget it. 6 million for a TVA with the cooling towers that went down. I don't know how that's gonna affect that because it's based on the structures that are out there, but they've always told us that it's the year, it affects the next year. So if it holds true, the towers coming down, the cooling towers coming down will affect next year's check. Now, they did tell us last year, I told Robbie and I, that there was gonna be there was an increase in sales. So we should have got a larger check last year, but if you recall, our check was down. And when we inquired about that, they said, no, it's gonna hit this year. So
Offset it even if
I'm,
it
I'm not quite certain because they, it's a 1 year behind, but that's what they told us last year too. And then, so I've tried to be conservative at the same time.
this year you will get, because the structure was this year. As of January 1st of
Well,
whatever
but
day.
that's the hard part where when we discuss that with TVA,
Mhm,
the state,
mhm.
they don't jive all the time. So that's what we're trying to get.
Got it.
That's still an ongoing
Got it.
question because, like I said, last year, they told us it should go up. And so when we got the check from the state and it had gone down, we
Right.
called them and said, well, why is that? And they said, well, because it affects next year. So it should not affect this year, but I don't trust them.
Right.
So just a straight up tell.
Yep.
Any questions? Oh, really? It did work.
It's the user.
You want to clap, Mr.
Any
Police?
questions?
So is the snow moving in or what?
What's that?
Is the snow moving in or what?
Well, No.
All right. Any questions regarding the treasurer's report? If not, I need a motion to approve.
Motion.
A motion by Mr. Johar, second by Ms. Bard. All in favor of approving the treasurer's report, please say aye. All opposed? I hear none. Move down now to payment of bills and salaries.
General regular this month, I bring $269,335.07. Of that, utilities was $34,000, fixed and mixed expenses were $90,000, and variable expenses were about $145,000. The significant check that was in this one was to Music and Arts for $37,900. That's for equipment for the band.
Any questions? Not, I need a motion to approve payment of bills and salaries.
I make a motion.
Motion by Ms. Wells, second by Mr. Bowers. All in favor of approving the payment of bills and salaries, please say aye. All opposed? I hear none. Thank you. Move down now to public participation. Nobody? Okay. And we'll go now to the administrative report and the superintendent report. And just of note, the personnel actions have been given to us and the report will be placed in our minutes. I'll turn it over to Ms. Orr.
We're going to hear from Central City Elementary tonight.
Well, so we wanted to keep in mind the new district focus where we're working on one purpose, one community, and one voice. So we're kind of tying all that in through the presentation tonight. There's a little. Yeah, I practiced before.
Oh, you did?
So in being the tide with purpose, we decided to focus on the school. We had several staff members come together with the purpose of making our building look a lot nicer. So you can see we did this over 3 days before the tile was laid. We had about 19 volunteers the first day. And then that dwindled each consecutive day, but our teachers did and staff came together, painted the hallways, painted the doors, and just made the school look a lot nicer. Here you can see some of the finished tiles. If you haven't visited Central City Elementary, it looks like a modern building that was built recently as opposed to 40 or 50 years ago. And here you can see a mural that was built by Central City Elementary alumnus and Muhlenberg County High School alumnus, Amberlyn Douglas. So we commissioned her to do that for us. And one thing that I want to do was just to make Central City a place that you feel welcome and greeted. So she We gave her some artistic liberty. She went with a postcard type greeting. So it says Central City greets you. And if you look, you can see different things in each letter that highlight Central City, the community, as well as the school. And then here you see that we had our gym floor redone this summer as well. So our whole school, we basically have a brand new school to start this year. So that's how we work together for one common purpose over the summer. And talking about being a community, we had several things where we invited the community, where we extended learning outside of school, and then we engaged Central City Elementary as a community. So here you see a couple of our after-school clubs that we highlighted. We have a bracelet making club. We also have a Central City Elementary dance team that we call the Golden Girls, and they performed for us at our last assembly, and they're already preparing something to perform for us at our next assembly, and they're fantastic. Here you see a color run. We did this the Friday before fall break. It's a tradition that Central City had pre-COVID that we brought back, so it was great to see all the smiling faces and the dirty, stinky kids that went home at the end of the day. It was great. Our fall festival, we finally were able to bring back this year. So you see some folks who on Hayride, huge success, generated a lot of funds for our teachers to spend on students in the classroom. This was our Halloween costume parades. We want to thank Mr. Hardison and Mr. Blessinger. We had two judges from Casey's General Store that came and volunteered their time to help judge. But here are some of our winners. These are our fourth grade, first, second, third place winners. We had a Veterans Day assembly, we didn't do an assembly. We did a parade this year where we encouraged the veterans to decorate their cars like you would do in a traditional parade. So they decorated, we played patriotic music, introduced each veterans. They drove through and the students cheered for them. This was our grandparents' breakfast that we had in correlation with our book fair. And I can't see that picture. This is the one that I'm probably the most proud that we did. This is something called Alex's Lemonade Stand. So there was a little girl named Alex who was diagnosed with cancer. This was around 2000-ish. And she wanted to have a lemonade stand to raise money. She raised about $2,000 with her lemonade stand before she passed away in 2004. Through her efforts and then other people hearing about it, it went to $1 million. And it's since over $250 million that have been raised. We raised this year $1,550, which is down a little bit, but last year we raised $2,300. So I'm really proud of that's all student raised money going toward childhood cancer research.
Eric, your second job is the biggest contributor of that.
Oh, it is.
Auntie Annie's is the biggest sponsor.
Oh,
They
really?
picked her up. They met her, the owners, that girl before she passed away.
Yeah.
And every year they give, I think it was 20 million last year they collected. Yeah.
So much money is raised.
So all that lemonade, yes.
So how we are going to be the Tide with Voice. What we're doing here is we want to prioritize engagement through what we do in class, through centers for engaging instruction. Here you see, this is Miss Beagle's book cafe that she did, where students were able to sample different tastes of books, and then they were able to rate them. Miss Orr was there that day, and so she was able to participate in that. This is Miss Rager's first grade class. They're working on commas, so they use macaronis to put in place where the commas go.
How did you come up with that?
This is a letter fashion show where students got to dress up as letters and walk around and show the letters that they've been able to learn this year. Here it's coming in slowly. Here we see a student working on iReady. They get to color in as they pass iReady assignments. They color that in to color up the turkey. And then here this is Special Agent Morgan. She's a fifth grade teacher and our school resource officer. And we had an unruly character who vandalized our school. The students had to read evidence from it, draw conclusions, and then that unsightly, pretty good looking fellow right there was apprehended and arrested and charged. So that was all because of the students drawing inferences from that. So that's how we were the Tide with Voice this year.
You're not built out yet.
Thank you.
Nobody wants to build them out.
Thank you, Mr. Blake.
Great.
Well done, sir. I just have a couple of things to share. we did our first meeting with our learner-centered design team, so I'm excited that we have started that work. Day one, we did some visits to classrooms and some focus groups with students and then with parents in the evening. And then on day two, our learner-centered design team came together, looked at that feedback, and then also did some learning and some work around learner-centered competencies. And so they worked on a first draft of our learner profile competencies. So their next steps are to take those back to their buildings to get feedback from staff members and kind of share the work that they are doing. And then we meet back again in January to continue that work. So excited about that. And then the only other thing we do have, I think you noticed we were short some administrators. We have some individuals from our buildings that are attending a conference, the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Conference in Louisville tomorrow. And so we have representatives from each of our buildings going for that work. So we're excited about the learning they'll bring back from that as well.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. The school looks good too. Central
Yes.
City looks great. Okay, we'll move down now to our board action items. And the first one is to approve digital learning coach job description.
So
I guess I forgot the attendance and enrollment.
Yeah.
Hey, Brent,
Oh.
sorry. I don't have my glasses on. I can't see.
I just checked it on, I was like, oh, wait, we didn't do that.
I was excited when putting a check mark where it shouldn't belong.
Okay, just quickly go over, we've got the third month. We're deep into the fourth month right now, but that's the way that falls in with the school year. We're just well completed in the third month. Things were looking pretty good right there, 93.11% with 4291. Hey, nice job on the enlargement. 4291 of the district enrollment. So things are looking pretty good. Now, let's pop up the other file real quick. Okay. Yeah, this is more of a current record. You can see there, we've been hit hard with the flu bug. And you can see there across the schools, a couple elementary schools have been hit pretty hard. The high school and middle schools have been hit a little hard. For the district, still holding in there. I mean, my fellow DPP from surrounding counties, they started talking about the flu bug hit a couple weeks ago, and they were in the 85s and 84. So we thought it was coming. But we've held stronger than they did, but it is getting a little bit lower there, and we've had some enrollment drop over the last few days. So that's it's a little bit frustrating, but it is something we monitor on a regular basis. Okay, any questions?
You know what the enrollment drop is from? Is it moving out of town or is it?
I get some of that, it's transient situations.
You down what, 6 and 12 there?
Which part?
You're down how many this week?
Right here. I mean, we were getting close to 4,300 there for a little bit. We were like at
on Monday,
42.
we were 4284.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes, when you have a transient situation, it's multiple children in a household.
Okay.
So, yeah. And you can see, you can pick out where it happened. I mean, now a couple of these kids from the high school went to the MOVE program. You see a little bit of growth there, a couple of situations that led us to fit their personal situation with the virtual option. We've had some illness and things like that have happened, and we've had to help them. So that's where we are. And you can see the elementary level too. But underneath that, you see the school enrollment numbers, and you can kind of see, you lose 1 or 2 at each school, and it adds up.
Thank you. And now we're down to board action. Item A is to approve digital learning coach job description.
Welcome to the podium.
Well, I'm not going to be technology. Ron would tell me I've got out the chisel and tablet and brought me pencil and paper and stuff. Of course, Where's Brian? Thank you, Brian.
You know,
But basically, this is just the job description that goes with the positions that you approved last month, not last year. So we're just asking for that job description approval.
Make a motion to approve the job description.
Second.
Second by Ms. Wells. All in favor of approving the digital learning coach job description, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none. Item B, to approve board representative on school calendar committee.
No, thank you, Chairman Rager. We talked about this through some email talking. So I know in the past, last couple of years, Ms. Wells has served on that. So I don't know if you guys have discussed that among yourselves or if you want to now, but we need a representative from the board itself to
That's the
serve on
same one.
the calendar.
pick the same one you had.
You
last
said it's just a couple of meetings.
Yeah,
Right?
just a couple of meetings. Yeah. And Ms. Wells has done a
So
fine
honoring.
job to serve on it.
Pick the last one you.
All right.
If you wouldn't have been here tonight, we'd have picked you.
That's right.
You don't want late meetings. You don't like that.
Oh, well, I'm gonna make a motion to select Ms. Wells to continue on that.
Are you okay with that, Ms. Wells?
Want to. All right. Thank you. Second, Mr. Johar. All right, all in favor of approving Susan Wells as our board representative on the calendar committee, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none. Thank you. And item C is to approve the school calendar committee.
Okay, on the board here, you're gonna see the makeup of the calendar committee. And then, until you approve, these are the tentative, candidates for that,
They're good ones. Sir.
situation. So it's amazing how fast we got her.
That's unbelievable how technology works, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep, I do appreciate these individuals for being willing to serve. And
Yeah.
the big thing there is we want to get the word out about, what's being considered and once you guys approve it, I've already getting questions about where breaks are and this and that. So I'll be bringing it to you guys hopefully at the next meeting.
All right, need a motion to approve the school calendar committee.
Mhm.
A motion by Mr. Johar, second by Mr. Bowers. All in favor of approving the calendar committee, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. Thank you. Move down now to item D, to consider change order for Muhlenberg North Middle School entrance.
I put that caught on the PowerPoint, sorry.
You got to.
My bad.
You got to. Don't worry. You got to.
It's that technology is not working for her tonight, so. All right, this change orders are for the 1/4-inch tempered safety glazing and the upgrade of the door hardware finish for North Middle's, the security vestibule. And once we do this, I'll talk to you about we had a meeting regarding that.
Oops.
Are there any questions on?
Oh, no. Upgrade the reference compensation.
You may have answered mine earlier, Eric. Let me see. Yes, you did.
Yeah. It's more, the safety glazing is more bullet resistant. It's not proof, but it's more bullet resistant.
Any questions?
And that's the bulk of the cost.
I need a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
A motion by Ms. Bard,
Second.
second by Mr. Bowers. All in favor of considering the change order for Muhlenberg North Middle School entrance, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none.
I'm gonna discuss, we did have a meeting with the architect, Landon Brothers, Mr. Rager, myself, Ms. Orr, and Mr. Fleming regarding some of the work that has been done
Mhm.
that we weren't pleased with. They will be coming back, and we've decided to push it to this summer. The storefront that was installed was not to the specs that we said, so they will be pulling it out and installing a new one. That's all the aluminum framing, the glass, everything within that. They're gonna be redoing all of that, as well as the cabinetry that was done. It was not done to, it's not a.
Who was the supervisor over this job?
Well, the Lanham brothers are the ones that are there. So what happened was there was no movement. And then we came back and they were done. So then we couldn't stop it prior to install. So then what we didn't see.
Is it safe right now?
Excuse me?
Is it safe?
Yeah,
Right now?
I mean, right now, there's no doors that are up right now, but they will be putting the doors in and making it usable to what they can. And then when they pull the old stuff out, they're gonna kind of do what they did
What's supposed to
the
be?
year and kind of put some barriers up for right now. Then you can't make it totally blocked off because of egress. So that you have to be able to get in and out. There is still the double doors that have always been in place. So it's nothing, we're not taking anything away. There's no reduction in security. It's
Got it.
just what we currently have, but we're working on bolstering that. That makes sense.
I mean, so what was the issue with that? Was it just not
It was not
quality
like so,
materials or was it?
That's a
Not-
big
the
issue.
drywall, it was clearly not plumb. And in some spots, when the storefront, the store, when I say storefront, I mean all the
Yeah.
aluminum
Yeah.
that's put in there. Some places we had that 1/8 tolerance, and then on the other side, there was 1.25 inches. And you can't caulk 1.25 inches. It's not,
Shot
What-
it's just,
Not having a knowledge of the job, or was it they were trying to make a quick dollar?
well, and now to be credited to Lanham Brothers, the only thing that the storefront folks, they're the ones that installed that. So Lanham was in charge of getting the drywall and that sort of thing correct. But the other folks were the ones that installed it that didn't do a good job on their end either. So we did have a meeting. They were all very, they know, they saw and they said, okay, we understand. And so there was no real pushback. There was a little bit in the prior, but once they went out and actually
Looked at it.
physically saw it. they
Yeah,
said,
it makes
okay,
a
we
difference.
understand. So. But I did want to give you all an update. So if you do go in that building and say, wait, it will be getting pulled out again and they're going to redo the work. So just so you're aware that.
So only time it could be done is when we are closed.
Right. So what we've had them do, we have directed them to say, okay, you will have everything in place, ready to go, even if we have to store the storefront and all that kind of thing. So Lanham Brothers in the interim is going to be working on getting the drywall perfect, everything correct, so that when
They've got-
architectural sales comes and they remeasure and make sure that the tolerances are tight, not, not 1 inch on one side and 1/4. So then that way they can have it ready to go. We've instructed them May 30th, day after Memorial Day. Is it Memorial Day? Yeah. To be ready to go. So that's,
Waste of time, money.
Thank you.
thank you.
And now item E, to consider change orders for the Muhlenberg County High School cafeteria.
All right, there are 4 change orders in this. Many of them were discussed previously, but the first one is to add the aluminum letters for the cafe sign to fill with a contrast, and then it'll look really, really good. Also, the original design had tying in new brick into the old brick, and it didn't match, right? So this change order is to take the old brick out and put new in there to lace that in. That's the first change order. There's loading dock trench. They had to shift where the loading dock was, based on when they pulled things out, they saw different areas, so they had to do drain work that would make it correct, and also put a different door on the loading dock. The old slab back in '89, when the building was built, there was no, vapor barrier put under the original slab. So the core and moisture content was too much, so they were worried about the new VCT tile eventually coming up. We weighed the pros and cons of that, wherein if something came up, how long would it be before it came up? We didn't know. So the risk we run on that is not getting the same watt, obviously, or having to store so much tile in order to have that in place, and then really opting to seal it then after, if it came up, we're not just gonna throw that, we're gonna have to end up sealing. So we thought, let's just seal it and get it done with and make sure that the tiling stays down. The last one is there's a high wall on the where the kitchen was, that when we looked at it, painting it was not going to be aesthetically pleasing. So I decided to add the gypsum board on there and then paint. So, and it looks much better now that gypsum board is up, and I can probably attest to that. So we could have painted over the concrete block, but it was so rough that it wouldn't have been a good look. So those are the items. And the total is $90,805, but it does fall within the contingency in the project. So it's not requiring additional funding.
Are there any questions regarding the change orders? If not, I need a motion to approve. Motion by Mr. Johar, second by Mr. Bowers. All in favor of approving the change orders for the Muhlenberg County High School cafeteria, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Move down now to our board consent agenda items, and this is approval of the minutes from the prior board meeting, leave of absence requests, and field trip requests. We've had a chance to review those in our packets. Any questions relating to these items? If not, I need a motion to approve.
Make a motion.
Motion by Ms. Wells, second by Mr. Johar. All in favor of approving the board consent agenda items, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I hear none. We're down to adjournment.
Make a motion.
Motion by Ms. Wells. I'll second. All right, all in favor of adjourning, please say aye. All opposed? I hear none, and we are adjourned.